catchweight contest. This one's a rematch. It's Nick Harris against Brad Robinson.
Nick the Hound Harris made his ONE FC debut in impressive fashion, forcing his opponent to give up at just the end of the second round. With that victory, he has earned a rematch and a shot at revenge with the man who has handed him only the second loss of his career, Brad Vanilla Gorilla Robinson. Having beaten Harris before, Robinson will be coming into this bout brimming with confidence. With an undefeated record to his name, Robinson is out to prove that he is, without a doubt, the better man. Both fighters have had a strong exchange of words leading up to this fight. So hold on to your seats, because this fight is going to get personal.
Nick the Hound Harris. Brad Robinson was the winner. Since then, though, Nick Harris has been busy. 3 victories since that date they had back in late 2012. And last time out was his debut in the ONE FC cage. He beat the Indonesian, Zulis Siliwanto. That was last November. So he's been busy, and he figures he's a much better fighter than he was when he met Robinson the first time. Looking for revenge, and that really is the story of this fight.
And like you said, he trains with some of the ONE FC fighters like Peter Davis, Arnaud Lepont, Eric Kelly. You know, it's kind of odd if you look at both guys' records. Both of them had to win by an opponent who retired mid-fight. I think that's just kind of and that might speak to how aggressively they fight, right? They both made dudes retire in the middle of a round. What if you could go your whole career just making guys retire as you fight them? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? You don't even have to submit guys. You just beat them so badly, like Nick Harris does, or Brad Robinson, they retire. And Nick Harris beats people with explosive striking. He is well-rounded.
Incidentally, when these two fought the first time, the cage they fought in was not much bigger than a London phone box.
Yeah, I'm very acclimated to how big that is also.
Well, it's tiny. A great deal smaller than the ONE FC cage, let me tell you that.
It's big enough for Superman to change it. It's big enough to fight it, in my opinion. Talk about forcing the action. A little more room to work here.
States of America, Vanilla Gorilla Robinson! On the table, Jason, just in the interest of full disclosure, Brad Robinson's a personal friend. I knew him before he became a mixed martial artist. Dude used to weigh around 150 kilos. He likes his food. He'll be the first to admit to that. Then he gave up the career that he came out to Asia for, which was a security career. Started a gym in downtown Singapore. Figured he needed to lose weight in order to look the part of a gym owner. And then, to take this fight, lost even more weight. So he's quite a story. He's featured in the media here locally quite a bit in terms of his dramatic weight loss. He's gone up and down in his life in terms of the kilos he can pack on and pack off. Takes this one very seriously because he loves the sport.
Look, if you're a true fighter, you go up and down in weight constantly. You got to be able to reward yourself after losing 30, 40 kilos with a whole bunch of cookies.
He He likes ice cream, I know that. He's a big ice cream fan. Maybe that's why they call him the Vanilla Gorilla. Don't know if that's his favorite flavor.
Vanilla's awesome. It goes with everything. You know, I'm always interested to see rematches, especially when they're debut fights, because it's a really good litmus test to see how far someone has advanced in their career if they bring another skill set into the table. And sometimes, you know, having a win over an opponent, you can be almost arrogantly confident that this is just going to be a walk in the park. And that's not to say Brad is at all, but it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
If you recognize Brad from somewhere other than a mixed martial arts cage, he's a bit of a television celebrity, reviews movies on television. Here's a tale of the tape then. Robinson is 10 years the older man. This is a catchweight contest. Robinson was always going to be a little bit heavier, identical in weight. This is Malaysia against the United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next fight is 3 rounds of 5 minutes in a catchweight bout. And it's brought to you by Copton Kings Hotel, the art of Asian hospitality. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He is a freestyle fighter, standing at 183 centimeters tall, weighing in at 78.5 kilograms, with a professional record of 5 wins and 2 losses. Fighting out of Muay-Fit, a top Malaysian welterweight, it's Nick, the Hound, Harris! And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a grappler, standing at 183 centimeters tall, weighing in at 80.4 kilograms, with a professional record of 2 wins and no losses. Fighting out of Fight G in Singapore, representing the United States of America, he is a submission grappling champion, Brad Vanilla Gorilla Robinson! And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Olivier Coste.
Back of the head and the spine. Okay? No full stomp to the head, don't grab the fence. Listen my command at all time, defend yourself at all time. Alright, touch guard if you want, by your corner.
That's Maya T.
Alright, judge.
That's Brad Robinson.
Time.
That's
Ready?
Nick Harris.
Ready? Fight!
And this fight is brought to you by Copthorne Kings Hotel, the art of Asian hospitality. Robinson in the white trunks.
You notice Brad right away is already switching from southpaw to orthodox.
He does have a boxing background. We mentioned that he's a grappler. Anthony Suntai mentioned that over the microphone to the live audience here. But he's done a bit of boxing, so he might well be comfortable switching from orthodox to southpaw. In that southpaw stance now. Just avoiding a swinging left hand.
Yeah, that was a cracker. Well, a lot of their first fight took place in the clinch and tied up on the ground. It's going to be interesting to see if Nick's been able to advance his grappling and wrestling prowess a little bit.
Robinson naturally the bigger man, the heavier man, so pushing his opponent up against the cage there will be something that he'll find slightly easier to do than Harris will.
Nice knee to the midsection by Brad. Another nice knee.
Both of them getting that knee up quite high up there into the midriff.
Yeah, Brad's in a better position here if they disengage, where he can throw some strikes and keep Nick against the cage.
Directly above us here at cage side in the Singapore Indoor Stadium.
Throwing each other about like ragdolls there. Oh, Nick just hit double underhooks and let him go. So much work and so much energy is just expended in the clinch. That head positioning also very important. Your referee Olivier Coste yelling for action. He's going to break them up here if they're not going to stay too busy.
You often make the great point, Jason, that you can get a good purchase on your opponent when they're dry early on in the fight, but these two sweating quite profusely already. just over 2 minutes into the fight.
Ooh, that was a kick right to the forearms. Some of the weirdest injuries you see kicking is when the guy kicks and just catches that sweet spot on the foot on an elbow, and it's just, or you look at like a guy like Anderson Silva that broke his shin on shin, just these weird anomalies that happen. So far, not really anything discernible, but that was a nice right to the body. Brad was a little more aggressive in the clinch, but he's a little bit flat-footed here too. He's circling into Nick's right hand.
Count as well, Brad Robinson. Just came over with a little short right hand, clipping Harris on the eyebrow. Got a nice quick counter. Harris does look to bring his right hand from that orthodox stance from quite a way back.
Well, when you're fighting a guy that's opposite lead, you want to keep your lead hand up higher than his jab hand so that you can come over the top and connect. So keeping that left hand or right hand, if you're Brad, up nice and high is going to be a key to really gauging that distance.
Robinson's hands nice and high. Harris is not so much.
Brad's got to be careful reaching for those shots. His elbows are kind of wide too. Nice body shot by Nick.
Yeah, when Nick connects, he really does, doesn't he? Body and head. He's got quick hands.
Yeah, and even though Brad's been moving forward, Nick's really connected with more of the shots. That was a good inside leg kick.
Robinson may well be American, but he's lived in Singapore for some time. As I mentioned, bit of a celebrity, well known around town. So he'll have lots of fans here, lots of people interested in the outcome, this particularly being a rematch.
But I know that Nick's really interested in the outcome, wants to get that black box off of his record. And it's rare too that you have an opportunity to have a rematch against guys, because a lot of times when an opponent beats another opponent, they don't want to go backwards and fight the guy again, because really Brad has nothing to gain from this fight. He's just giving Nick the ability to wipe a smudge off of his career. Oh, nice straight right down the pipe.
It's a bit of a 1-2, wasn't it, to close that round? The first 5 minutes are in the books. And it was pretty impressive stuff from Nick Harris. They spent a lot of time on the cage in the first couple of minutes or so.
Yeah, and Brad was a little tentative in some of his punches. He's leaning his head away when he throws that hook. He's not really committed on that pop. But boom, right down the center. Hand. Yeah, that was just right on the button.
And Brad gave him a little smile as he turned away there as the bell sounded, just after taking that one on the chin. Both very keen to take on as much water as possible. Big crossing. Okay, you good? That's Mila G. Two beautiful ring girls we've got in attendance tonight.
Fighters ready? Fighters ready?
Fight! 5-minute rounds we have here at 1FC.
The first round was fairly back and forth, even though Brad pressed forward more. It looked to me like Nick was the one that really landed any discernible shots. Brad landed a couple in the clinch, but gotta feel like at this point, Harris is up a little notch in terms of striking. And you see right there, Harris's meter moves up a little bit. Harris has been able to throw a couple of nice shots that connected. And Brad so far looks a little tentative. They're really outside of heavy striking range. And It looks like Nick has a little more of a reach.
Brad keeps coming forward.
Yeah, Brad's really flat-footed too here. I don't know if that's just from not having fought in a while or if he didn't get a lot of time to spar in, but
It's also maybe the contrast between the two that's showing them up, because Harris is really bouncy, isn't he, when they're in the center of the cage?
yeah, well, I mean, usually when a guy starts being flat-footed, it's the first signs of someone being tired. And also, it slows you down because you're not as maneuverable when you're not pivoting on your heels or your feet and your balls and your feet. Oh, just missed with an elbow from hell.
The elbow from hell. If it had connected, that would have been hellish.
Yeah, Brad's definitely has one-punch knockout power and is really looking to force that clinch, but so far no discernible takedowns or anything. Nick looks more fluid on his feet.
Yeah, that's certainly a characteristic of this fight.
You see there when Nick's using that left hand to paw Brad, he's trying to find the distance to set that right hand up. That's why he's been really successful throwing that right hand down the pipe and landing it on Brad, because he's using that as a tape measure. And that's why you see really a lot of boxers, they pump that jab out dozens of times in a round because it tells you what your opponent is going to do, if they're going to move a certain way, if they're going to move back, forward, and it helps keep offensive.
Right hand from Harris, and that just grazed the American's chin. The bearded chin of Brad Robinson. He has relied, even though he keeps those hands quite nice and high, Robinson, he has relied on evasive maneuvers when the 1-2s come, and he just slides out of the way. Of course, it doesn't always work.
I wonder if the weight cut from Brad, like you talked about, he was much bigger at a few points. I mean, I wonder if the weight cut from this has left him a little lethargic. He just looks a little flat on his feet. I don't know if he's pensive, but this isn't a quick, snappy Brad Robinson that we've seen in some of his other fights.
I mean, that would certainly be a genuine concern, Jason.
But I do like the fact that he keeps moving forward, stalking his prey. You see Nick keeps loading that right hand up.
1 minute 30 left in this second round, and that left kick connected to the head. Nick Harris can get that foot up there. We've seen it already a couple of times. Brad tries to take the legs away with the sweeping kick. Constantly coming forward, the American, but is he doing enough? Is he busy enough in this stand-up duel?
Yeah, well, one of the things to look at too is that
left hand.
Is that Nick Harris is connecting with more shots, but he's also not engaging as much. Where Brad is getting kind of picked apart here in a couple of these. Oh, ouch!
Immediately, Harris apologized. He knew what he'd done. That's gone too low.
That's
anguish from the crowd.
That's not good.
So the deal here is 5 minutes rest. Up to 5 minutes Brad Robinson can take.
Yeah, right here you just that was
there it is, yeah.
That was a bullseye. Oh.
Must we see it again? I guess we must.
I guess we might as well get another shot of it if he's gonna get another shot.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
That's not good. For some reason we got to see the woman who reacted painfully to that groin shot again.
Yeah.
Every guy in the audience just winced also.
And apparently every girl.
And in a case like this, Brad has up to 5 minutes to recoup. I think we've seen a tremendous amount of groin shots in ONE FC. I think almost every event we've had Aoki.
Yeah. Brad, a disproportionate number of groin shots, you're saying?
It has been.
Yeah, it could be right.
I don't know if Brad's going to be able to continue, because that
doesn't look
really...
I mean, so often you see fighters on their feet just trying to bend and flex and get some air into their body, but Brad was down on his back for more than a minute there, and clearly in some discomfort. The crowd will give him all the encouragement they can, but that's not going to do a great deal. He looks down to us at cage side and gives us a grimace.
Yeah, I got no help for you from down here.
Yeah, there's not much we can do, I'm afraid, pal.
That's tough. But we were talking about before, in terms of the fight and actual some of the things going on. Even though Nick Harris was connecting with more punches, backpedaling, the judges also may look at that as Nick not being as aggressive because Brad was moving forward. So it's going to be interesting to see how the judges are going to see this one. I think that so far we've got to see that Nick is up in the striking category. And again, the way we judge a fight here in 1FC, the most important aspect is who came closest to actually finishing the fight. Near knockouts, near submissions, followed by damage, striking superiority, ground control, and then things like takedowns and aggression. And after that shot to the nads, I think Brad's going to be exceptionally aggressive.
Well, it looks as if Brad's ready to go, but I would suggest that he's not yet fully recovered. Profuse apologies from Nick Harris.
We may be able to have a 1FC card just called 1FC Retribution and just have everyone that's ever taken a shot to the groin.
Well, having taken a kick there, Jason, that was pretty much close to the no-go zone again.
Yeah, like I told you, after getting kicked in the nads, you're going to see a very aggressive Brad. I'm just giving Brad an aggression point right away because...
Fired up, isn't he?
Yeah, he put a whole lot of charcoal in that kick, fueling the fire.
Will this be some kind of ironic turning point?
You gotta be careful, because just because you're being aggressive doesn't mean you're necessarily fighting smart.
Yep. Final 10 seconds, so Brad's due for another minute's rest pretty soon. Will he be able to maintain that fire in his belly for the final 5 minutes? He probably does need something fiery.
I think ice is more than
fire.
Yeah, I've never known it than any fire. See Brad just a little frustrated with not being able to engage Nick, and that elbow from over the top just missed by a half an inch.
Nick looks like he hurt his foot there, probably grazing that kick on Brad's knee, and that will be bruising and may well cause him a problem in the final round. I say I didn't notice that first time.
I got this. 5 minutes, okay? I got that. Yes, 5 minutes.
You know, I'm interested to see why Brad hasn't really tried to get a takedown. I mean, in 10 minutes through the fight, you can't really think that he's getting ahead.
So the final 5 minutes of this 3-round contest, a rematch. Robinson, the winner in their first contest back in late 2012 in Malaysia. Here in the 1FC cage, Robinson making his debut, Harris his second 1FC fight. Robinson in the white trunks, Harris in the black.
Yeah, Nick's just showing he's using a little bit more offensive tools. You see him a little lighter on the feet, a little more bouncing in his step. He's feinting a little bit more, which is just going to help him set up and open up some openings for Brad. You know, from an aggression point of view, the real only aggression outside of the striking coming in from Nick backpedaling was when Robinson got connected to the family jewels. Saw some fire come out of that round. You see Harris here up a couple of notches in my book as far as being able to connect more into the striking realm.
Olivier Coste, our referee, calling for a little bit more action. Oh, a good kick again. That's about the third time we've seen that. But again now, you can see that that right foot is troubling Harris.
Yeah, Brad's got
to jump on that.
Yeah, Brad's got to see that there's something wrong there with his foot. Keep some pressure on Nick. That was a nice right-left. You know, when Brad's connecting like that, I don't know why he's disengaging. He's connecting with Nick. Nick's clearly a little bit injured or a little pensive.
You figured out that if Brad goes after him, Harris won't be able to retreat quite so quickly. That right foot is bothering him.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but you can tell that there is something a little different with Nick Harris. Whether his foot's getting a little tender, but Brad needs to see that, especially when he connects with a couple of shots.
It was an incident in the second round where I think he caught Robinson's knee with a kick. Perhaps a broken metatarsal at the top of the foot there. Some kind of problem that's causing him pain and limiting his movement now. A left hand from Robinson. Landed around the throat area. What can he do in these final 3 minutes?
I was going to say, you know, at this point, I think that if Brad just shot for a double leg takedown and pressed Nick, I think he's going to get it because he hasn't really set up a takedown up into the first, 12 and a half, 13 minutes of this fight.
Well, Robinson loves his jiu-jitsu, Jason. I mean, he lives by it. It takes his life. He spends so much time rolling around, and he hasn't exhibited any kind of attempt to take advantage using that technique in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that Brad's moving forward. He clearly wants to fight. He wants to engage. I think he's a little frustrated by the fact that Nick has really been beating him to the punch, backpedaling. But you see that, Brad, when he throws that left hook, he's kind of leaning his body away a little bit, and he's pulling his head away.
He got caught with a cracking left hand from Harris then. And as Jason's been keeping some stats on striking, that's got to be a notch. Because it was a super left hand. The back of the jaw turned Robinson's head. And I wonder if that will make a big difference here. There it is again.
Oh, here's that takedown attempt. Oh, just a little bit too high.
Yep, needed to get lower there.
We take a look at the striking superiority. Harris really is connected with more of the shots, even though he's been backpedaling. There's Brad on that single leg. Well, it looks in my book like Nick Harris may get the retribution that he wanted out of this fight. I wonder if this is going to mean there's going to be a rubber match. The first fight went the distance. This fight arguably is going to go the distance.
The writing is on the wall. Of course, this one's not over yet, but it's looking like Harris has the upper hand. Final minute we're about to enter in this contest. Both of them open mouth, breathing pretty hard.
That's right. Left hand. Brad is doing a good job when he throws those punches, moving off the center, and he's not staying in the pocket. But he just had a hard time finding range.
Perpetually coming forward, isn't he, the American? Just won't stop that relentless pursuit forward. But that's quite a skill to be able to box going backwards. And Harris has managed it pretty well. Final half minute, left hand from Robinson. It's pretty much all or nothing for him now.
Well, aggression really has been Robinson moving forward. He's been pushing the pace, even though he hasn't really found an answer to close the distance in that range.
Toe to toe in the last 10 seconds, will they? I suspect Robinson needs to do something, but he's running out of time. At 1FC, we score the fights as a whole, not round by round, and this one will go to the judges. The kind of respect we expect to see shown by both fighters at the end of this contest. And has Harris got his revenge?
Well, right there you see, yeah, it looked like he may have hit the forearm, but, Brad saw there was something amiss, and he connected with that nice left right to the ribs. He threw a couple of good shots. I've noticed a lot of times if I don't spar enough for fights, that's when you start to get that instinct to lean away from your punches as opposed to tucking your chin and staying in that pocket, making yourself small. You see Brad there, he'd throw a hook or he'd throw a punch and he'd lean away a little bit. And that's bad for a couple of reasons, because one, wherever your head goes, your body's going to follow. So if you do get caught with a counter punch, you can't really sit on that. So far, I see this fight as going the way of Nick Harris.
I'd have to agree. Yep, Harris for me as well.
Yeah, you hear the corner saying you were chasing him the whole fight.
Which is how we saw it too.
Yeah, and he was chasing him the whole fight. But we'll see if the judges make that a large decision or
with the official announcement, Anthony Suntai.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge number 1 sees it for Harris. Judge number 2 sees it for Robinson. And judge number 2 sees it for your winner via split decision from the blue corner, Nick Harris.
A split decision there. One of the judges giving it to the American Brad Robinson. 2 of them going with the Malaysian Nick Harris. One way or another, we got there. And the winner is the Malaysian. Jason and I would agree with that.